So if you're the kid in class who was paying super close attention to what was going on, you will have noticed that yesterday I made a Magnemite tutorial. It's a super cool tutorial, you should check it out, but today I want to talk about something that I forgot to mention in that tutorial, and that is how to make the outline on the Magnemite, but in essence, how do you do it on any object in Blender? We'll talk about it, we'll talk about how to change the color, a lot of exciting stuff, let's get into it. So, basically, here's the scene that we made yesterday. I have it set at 32 samples, so it renders super quickly. It's just a Magnemite. Cool tutorial, but whatever. If I was to take this and hit render on any given frame, and yes, we are going to be rendering this live, so let's just wait, I guess. You're going to see it's Magnemite. It did the render, did a bit of compositing nodes that I added in, and it looks as is. You're going to notice I removed the outline, the border around it. So let's talk about how to add it back in. So what you're going to do is with your project, with whatever thing you've made, whatever blend you've made, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the render tab. You are going to scroll down. You are going to enable Freestyle. This is going to free you. Enable Freestyle, keep the settings as is. Now, by default, so when you do this, you can go to the layer window, layer panel. Either way, you go to this, you're going to see that there's a whole lot of Freestyle information. This wouldn't be here if you didn't enable it. So we've enabled it. You can see a whole bunch of Freestyle stuff. You might have some stuff enabled by default, some stuff not. Don't worry about it. Basically, what I want you to do is just enable silhouette, and let's try to render again. And we can customize this, what you're about to see. So you can see it does the render, there's no Freestyle, it's thinking about it, and then boom, it's kind of like a second pass, the Freestyle. So silhouette is basically the one I use 90% of the time. There's a couple exceptions. But this is going to make a freestyle line, depending on your line style, line set, that goes around the silhouette, the border of your thing for each object. So this is what it would look like. Of course, we can control a bunch of stuff about this. So here's the line style. What does the line look like? We can control the color of it. So let's say we want to make it like a reddish line. We can do that. We can change the thickness to make it super thin, go through a bunch of other stuff. Let me just render to show you what this would look like. And by the way, this updates with animation. You just set it once, you render your animation, and it works. So you can see here we made a red line that I made thinner. It's the silhouette of each object individually. It's not the silhouette of the entire thing, which is why the screw also has this, because it's, well, I guess, yeah, whatever. Either way, that's the silhouette of the object. There is more you can do with Freestyle, which isn't really, what we're talking about in this video, the silhouette thing. You've essentially done it. You could try some of these other settings instead of silhouette, so some of them will outline if you have a area of high concavity, in other words, a ridge or a valley. You could go through stuff like this, but let me just throw in one more trick just for the sake of this tutorial. What if instead you wanted the silhouette, but you also wanted to mark every single edge on one object? How would you do that? Let's just select an object, this sphere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. By the way, make sure you're in edge mode for this and you have Freestyle enabled. Right click, so I have all these edges selected. I'm going to mark Freestyle edge, which you can see makes them green. It doesn't affect anything in our mesh. It just means Freestyle, look at these lines, okay? If I was to render, nothing will have changed. But to make this actually show up like a wireframe, you're going to go to your Freestyle stuff. You're going to go to edge mark. In other words, render out the edges that we marked for Freestyle. Let's render it again. And I'm just trying to show you a bit of how Freestyle works. I know this isn't like relevant to the tutorial anymore. But you can see it's going to make the outline in addition to the wireframe of the selected object. And you can do this for every object in the scene. So that's the essence of it. That's how you do the outline effect. And now you know how to make the Magnemite in full. So just do the Freestyle stuff, render out the animation, and you're good to go. Now, normally at this point, I do like a full Patreon announcement thing, but since this is such a short tutorial, not worth it. So Patreon exists. You can get blends. I mean, here I go anyways. You can get blend files like this Magnemite. You can get exclusive tutorials, stuff like this. Just know it exists. There's a link in the description, but I'll leave you, I'll spare you for this one. So hopefully you learned something, and go make that Magnemite, you degenerates. Bye-bye.